Tansei, and welcome to another episode, our last episode of Good Morning Wahkohtowin. Today is Monday, June 21st, also known as National Aboriginal Day or National Indigenous Peoples Day. This is a day for all Canadians to recognize and celebrate the unique heritage, diverse cultures, and outstanding contributions of Indigenous people. Today is celebrated each year on June 21st, the summer solstice. The date was chosen in light of the fact that many Indigenous peoples and communities have traditionally celebrated their culture and heritage on or near the summer solstice, which is the longest day of the year. Some ways we can celebrate today are to learn more about and acknowledge the land and territory we live on, recognize the importance and celebrate Indigenous culture, food, and song, educate ourselves on reconciliation and how we can work together and support the calls to action, and support locally owned Indigenous businesses. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy your breakfast. For the last time, good morning, Wahkohtowin.
How are you, my relatives? Once again, I'd like to thank you for inviting me to be able to speak on Aboriginal Day. Aboriginal Day to our people is a very important day because it's a day that we recognize ourselves as First Nations of this land. It is a time to celebrate our culture, our songs, our dances, our ceremonies, our food, our values, our history, and it commemorates a time to be able to be okay with being Indigenous and being able to celebrate it in such a way that we can honor our own culture, our languages. You know, in each community, they will do something different. And in the Cree community, they also have their own ways. Usually it's a day of reckoning, it's a day of prayer, it's a day of meditation, it's a day of celebration. Most celebrations start off with a prayer, and then they have, or pipe ceremony of some kind. And sometimes, you know, they'll follow it up with a feast, you know, where they feed the people. And then they celebrate, you know, by displaying their arts and crafts, their teachings, you know, values, you know, TP teachings will probably be there, the sweat lodge teachings, Sundance teachings, and a powwow probably, or sometimes even a round dance, you know, because all of these different, we call it Maumuschigiuna. Maumuschigiuna means where you're crying out for help, and you're like at your lowest, and you're seeking help in some way. So those places are put there so that we can use them to help overcome odds. For instance, the pipe ceremony. You know, when we turn to the pipe helps us get through hard times through prayer and meditation. Same with the powwows, you know, it makes you feel good and uplifted when you can dance and sing those songs, those sacred songs. Sweat lodge, same thing. You know, you go in there, it's like going back inside your mother's womb, and when you come out of there, it's like being reborn. So you leave all your hurts and pains and suffering behind inside the lodge, and when you come out of there, crawling out of there, it's like you're a brand new baby. And for Sundance, you know, it's like when you would talk about the Sundance, it's like you're going there, it's usually called a thirst dance, you know, And so you go there to martyr yourself, to suffer on behalf of the people that you're going to be helping. Most people who help others in the community go there to look for strength and teachings about the culture, so they can use the culture to help heal other people. So, people also come there for prayers, so that they can overcome any obstacles that might be troubling them. So all of these different things is a time when Aboriginal Day, when you demonstrate and show others, what we have in our culture for us to be able to find healing and to find happiness and to find ceremony and to find ways to improve our lives. So Aboriginal Day is a day to be able to find, out who you are and what's out there for you in your culture. What are your songs? What are your dances? What are your ceremonies? So again, I'd like to thank you for helping me, or for inviting me to speak on that. But it's a lot more elaborate than that. But for now, that's all we need to know. It was how my relations I had.
Good morning, wahkohtowin. Mrs. Moffat here with the newest edition. This is Elliot Moffat, and we're going to do a Move It with Moffat today with Elliot. So pretend you're holding a baby and put it out in front of you, and we're going to do some squats. Ready? 10 squats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure you get nice and low. 7, 8, 9, 10. This is Elliot's first workout too. Ready? Now we're gonna do some lunges. Foot out. Make sure your knee doesn't go over your toes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ready? Now we're gonna do some jumping jacks. You know how to do them? I won't be doing them because I have Elliot. But make sure your arms come out and your legs out and in. Do 10. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ready? Should we dance it out? And just finish with a dance! Miss you, wahkohtowin. Have a great summer. Stay safe.
Tansa toin wahumagantik asay mi napego nanas kumon epentu epe kwitsimgo ana asay mi mai mutaman huma masnaigan ni gotosik o tagaiskal kiano makawigia kitaskino. I'd just like to say thank you, my relatives, for inviting me once again to be able to speak to you about something in regards to our Treaty 6 territory. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Treaty 6 song, its importance and where it came from and why it's important for us to sing that song in this territory. First of all, I just want to say that song was made to commemorate the signing of the Treaty 6 agreement, or a treaty. In that treaty, we were promised many things by the Crown. And the Crown, when we signed those treaties, they made agreements that they would fulfill as their part and our part. So in doing so, the Red Bull singers condensed a song that was previously made by somebody else. There's a gentleman named B. Guts who who condensed the song. It was a really long song and it told a story. But in this version of the song, it says Kichokimasko, which means the queen. You know, Kikimiko no, the queen gave us. Iskihiwe hun, a flag. Kakike, forever. Kawewepa may it fly over our lands forever. So what that really is doing is it's commemorating the signing of the Treaty 6 treaty, and at the same time, you know, we're honoring that that agreement by recognizing the flag. Back then it was the Union Jack, and today it's been replaced by the Canadian flag, the maple leaf. So today, you know, that flies over our country, but it's also it's there to remind us of the agreement that we had with the Queen in regards to our treaties. And so when we sing that song here in this Treaty 6 territory, we honor that agreement. And we hope that the Queen or the Crown or representatives of the Crown will honor what is written in those treaties. There are other flag songs that other communities sing in and around Canada, United States, depending on their territory. They'll create their own songs for their own agreements. And for the international songs, we also have a Canadian flag song, and the Americans have composed an American flag song. So those are usually universal, you know, depending on which side of the continent you're having your powwow, whether it's Canada or United States. So those are the variations of songs, but in our case, the Treaty 6 song is the most important, and that flag represents our agreements with the Crown here in Canada, all my relations.
Mrs. Goodwin here with another playground update. Well, it appears it's still done. One thing we did not get to the bottom of yet is which slide is the fastest on the playground, and is it, in fact, the double stainless steel slide? Let's find out, shall we? Folks, this is not meant for adults, and the double stainless steel slide is not the fastest. And now for our weather update. Well, it's windy, it's cold, it's sunny, it's hot, it's windy, it's cold, it's windy, it's hot. I don't know. That's Saskatchewan for you. But what I do know is there's some nasty looking clouds coming in from the south, and it looks like it's going to rain. It's already... It's not raining yet, but it might. Hey! Well, let's not talk about today's weather. Let's move forward to our summer holidays, July and August. We know those months are going to be hot, hot, hot. And everyone would be so lucky to have a Miss Boschman spraying them down with a hose. Make sure you're wearing a hat, sunglasses, lots of sunscreen, and drink lots and lots of water. And no big black hoodies. Grade 8s. Oh, this just in. Yes, popsicles and Slurpees are also acceptable. Have a very safe summer, and we'll see you in the fall.
How's it going with Mr. Hohen?
Welcome back to another episode of How's It Going with Mr. Hohen. Today, I'm joined by our principal, Pete Chief, and our city's mayor, Charlie Clark. Charlie, thank you for joining us here today.
Oh, I'm really happy to be with you, Mr. Hohen and Mr. Chief.
Before we start, Charlie, do you mind if I call you Chuck?
I prefer to go by Charlie, Mr. Hohen. So, but if you could.
Okay, sounds good. I'll make a note of that here. And before we get into kind of an activity, would you want to share your story about how you might have confused our school with another school that's in our same park here, or do you want to share that kind of little tidbit for the kids?
Yeah, well, I have been to Wahkohtowin school and in your gymnasium before, but it happened because I was trying to go to the Boys and Girls Club at Bishop Roberecki School one day, and I was late, and I was sort of scrambling because I was trying to get to the right school, and the Google took me to the wrong place, and so I showed up at Wahkohtowin school. It was Confed school at the time, and the teacher said, we're going to have a feast here later. And so what I did is I took note of that. I went over and met with the Boys and Girls Club at Bishop Roberecki. And then I came back to Wahkohtowin school and had an amazing feast. And it was the day that your principal, Mr. Chief, was being celebrated and recognized as the new principal of the school. And so I have really, really great memories of coming there. And everybody was so warm and welcoming to me on that visit.
Pete, was it as memorable for you as it was for Chuck there?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was certainly, again, I remember, as I recall, we were sitting around, doing the planning of our feast and round dance. And so I remember one of the teachers looks over my shoulder and goes, "Hey, it's that mayor guy." And so I'm like, "What?" And so I turned around and here was Mayor Clark. And so, yes, we extended our invitation to Mayor Clark. And he did tell us that, yeah, he was at the wrong school, but he did promise to come back. And so he did. And so later on, when we did have our feast and round dance, he showed up, and it was a good way to introduce Mayor Clark to the rest of our community that evening. So it was good. Yeah.
I hope I have a chance to come back once we can all gather again, and because it was a very exciting night, and it was great to see. And I was wondering, Mr. Hohen, can I call you Car?
I prefer truck, actually.
Oh, truck. Well, that rhymes with Chuck. So maybe
the Adventures of Chuck and Truck. No, if you want to go by car, that's fine. Usually the students call me Mr. Hohen. It'd be like if someone came and called you Mr. Chuck, but it's fair. I'm okay with it.
We'll figure this out.
By the end, we'll have the names down. So today, our challenge or our activity that you want to call it is we're doing a principal versus mayor showdown. What I'm going to do, I have a series of 10 questions here. There are no wrong answers, but there might be a wrong answer. And I just want the first answer that comes to your mind, shout it out. All right? Is that simple enough?
All right.
The kids watching, they might choose who had the right answer. Myself, I'll try to refrain, but here we go. Question 1. And if you want to raise your hand, as the teacher, that's kind of me coming out, but if whoever wants to speak can. Who is the best, not your favorite, the best superhero? Mr. Chief.
Superman.
All right, fair answer. Chuck?
Is Chewbacca a superhero? Because I really like Chewbacca.
Is there a comic about him?
I'm sure there is.
Okay, I'll give you Chewbacca. I would have also accepted Thor for some obvious reasons that the students might know. Maybe later on, Mr. Clark will find out why Thor is my favorite, but we'll wait and see.
I can see everything.
And so, favorite subject when you were a kid, what was it? Mr. Chief,
Phys ed.
good answer. Charlie,
Social studies, because I had a really awesome teacher that got me to write an essay that kind of changed my life and how I think about the world. So I'm gonna social studies, credit to Mr. Schneider.
that's a really good shout out. I would say almost a tie. Mr. Chief, the athleticism I've seen before, so he's a testament to phys ed, but I do like the social studies, and that was my one of my areas of studies when I was in the College of Education. So I'd kind of side with Mr. Clark there too.
All right.
Oh, I mean, I completely agree with Mr. Chief. That is what I'm saying. Number 3, you are cooking hot dogs. It is summertime. Are you doing it on the barbecue or on the campfire? Oh, and by campfire, it's within the city bylaws. We are doing it at a time that is permitted by our city bylaws. So campfire, what is it? After 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but before 11 p.m.?
11, correct.
Okay. Ooh, Charlie's got his hand raised digitally there, virtually. So I'm gonna go with him.
I wasn't sure if I could use the little raise hand function or the real hand. I thought I'd try it out, but I love roasting them on sticks on a campfire. I just cut some branches off of an apple tree in our yard the other day, so we could do that. So I'm gonna go that way.
Campfire, Mr. Chief.
I agree. Campfire. Nothing beats a hot dog roasted over a campfire. Yep.
I pegged you as a guy who liked to boil hot dogs, but
Sometimes.
question number 4. What would you rather have? A dog-sized elephant or an elephant-sized dog? Chuck.
Dog-sized elephant. Yeah. I was just talking to my 10-year-old daughter last night, and she declared that her favorite animal was an elephant, and it would be a lot easier to have one if it was just a dog size in our backyard than a real one.
Well, since I live out in the country and I do have dogs, I have fairly good sized large dogs. I wouldn't mind an elephant sized dog for my property. And
I have a question for here. I'm not too sure about the types of elephants, but would the breed of the dog matter of what size we're getting then?
Maybe.
Yeah. What would you go with then if you had to go with that big of a dog?
Shepherd.
Perfect.
I was thinking a corgi.
That would be a sight to see, I would say. It's winter time now. Flash forward. Are we playing hockey or are we curling? Mr. Chief?
Hockey.
Hockey? Mr. Clark?
Backyard hockey. I got a group that I play with on a very small piece of ice that we have a lot of fun, and I get very, very worn out from, but for sure.
On the note of hockey, does anyone have a favorite PJHL hockey team? Just could be like the Wesleys, maybe when Noah's played for the Wesleys.
Sure, Wesley's.
Oh, okay, we got that on film here. Back to summertime. What smells better, fresh cut grass or fresh rainfall? Mr. Chief?
Fresh rainfall.
So you're
Fresh rainfall, for sure.
Yeah, I'm with Mr. Chief's a smart man, because I agree. The way especially the one we had recently after so much dry weather, and it just felt like the earth became alive again.
Exactly, yep.
Beautiful.
that is a perfect poetic almost question, I would say, or answer. Another one here, Tim Hortons or Starbucks? Or for Mr. Woods' sake, a nice cup of tea properly made. Chuck?
I would take an apple fritter from Tim Hortons, but I would take a Americano coffee from Starbucks.
Ooh.
But I prefer Ven Coffee or one of the ones right here in our city that we have some great little coffee shops that are run locally.
Mr. Chief, anything else?
Starbucks some mornings. Good Pike Place is good to start your day. Tim Hortons when you're on the road. Yep, I enjoy that too as well. Dark roast.
Can't complain as long as it's free and someone's bringing it to you.
Great.
I'll make a note. I was going to make sure we had coffee for this interview, but it was going to be a little bit more challenging since it was virtual. Here's a controversial one in the past couple of years. Pineapple on pizza, does it belong there? Oh, tie. It's whoever wants to go first can speak up. If it's ingredients, then Mr. Clark.
Oh, yeah, I like it. I'm a Hawaiian fan. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm with you on that one. I'm a huge ham pineapple fan. Mr. Chief, no.
Chief says
No pineapple. Pineapple's a fruit. It doesn't belong in a pizza. Pizza should be strictly cheese, tomato sauce, meat,
That's it?
and some veggies.
Well, now the line's kind of getting a little bit gray there. What do you argue when people say tomato is a vegetable or a fruit?
I guess, well, but but tomato is actually not what it's one of the original ingredients though in a pizza. So you have to have tomato paste in a pizza.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
What about anchovies?
I
go for that.
Me
Yep.
too.
How about like a chicken bacon ranch pizza? Getting rid of the tomato sauce and everything.
I know that's a little getting to it. It's getting to be like a meat pie or something.
All right. We sell that. Are you a note at pineapple as a fruit too, Pete? Or do you like pineapple or just not on pizza?
I like pineapple. I just don't
Okay.
like pineapple with my pizza.
Breaking news just in. The chief does like pineapple. We're good to go. Which job is harder? This is question number 9. Being a principal or being a mayor?
Oh boy.
Mr. Chief?
I'll say mayor.
That's very gracious of you.
Yeah.
Miss-
I don't know. A whole school full of teachers and kids and parents and everything that's going on to make sure that everybody's healthy and happy and getting along is a huge job. So I don't take that lightly at all.
Well, my reason is like on one hand, we have someone who's like constantly putting out arguments, dealing with problems that come up during the day, and also has to deal with like a lot of crying possibly. And then also we have the principal on the other hand who does the same thing too. So they're both quite challenging, I would say. Last one, this is kind of going back to a previous episode we had around Christmas time where we did a similar thing of back and forth quick questions. We had a debate and I'm glad that you brought up your daughter. Do you have any other kids, Charlie, by the way?
3 kids, yeah.
3 kids. So this might help settle the argument because I feel you and Mr. Chief might agree. When it comes to Christmas movies, which one is better, Home Alone or Elf? We found a generational kind of gap in this question, whereas like, I don't want to date anyone here, but an older generation was more leaning towards Home Alone, obviously, and then the younger generation was leaning towards Elf.
I think
Mr. Clark.
we've laughed together as a family, I think, more to Home Alone than any other Christmas movie. So, but Elf's a classic, but I think Home Alone's amazing. So I'm gonna go with that.
Do you have a preference between 1 or 2?
Yeah, 1. Yeah.
1, the original. Pete?
Yeah, I have to agree with Mayor Clark here. Yeah, it's for us. It's both are great movies. Both are, there's sort of a tradition in my household, and because my daughters and are they're spread apart in age as well. But the one prefers Home Alone, the other prefers Elf. And the way it goes is we usually watch Home Alone first and then we watch Elf second, and we both enjoy both movies. But if I was to choose again, I'd probably go with Home Alone.
Mr. Chief, you might have a career in politics with that answer. I like both, so we can move
That
on.
was very diplomatic for sure. He's a
All
master.
right. That probably just made Miss Goodwin really happy because she was on the home loan side. I was saying I was on the elf side, but it was a bit more, like I said, the generational thing between the two of us.
Are you trying to tell us we're old?
No, not at all. I'll never say that. I can neither confirm or deny it, but
You should be a politician.
I can sit on top of that fence all day if I need to. Classrooms with kids sometimes, but like I was saying, you both are great leaders. You demonstrate characteristics that I think many of our youth today and even the adults in our life can look up to. This past year with COVID has been extremely challenging. And with also recent discoveries with our residential schools and bringing new things to light, there's been a lot of difficult, we were talking before, Charlie, a lot of difficult stuff to navigate as leaders of both schools and within our communities. And I just want to say, is there anything from either one of you, again, that you could share with our kids and with our viewers? Because I know that a lot of our community members and a lot of the parents like to watch these shows too. If there's anything you'd like to share as one of our leaders in our communities, then this is your chance to kind of give that moment.
Well, I guess you're absolutely right. This year has been a very, unlike any other school year we've had. And, we've been through a lot in regards to school and with COVID. And so one of the things that I guess that come to my mind is just, again, being honest in regards to what is happening in our community and making sure that teachers, students know exactly what's happening within our school and within our building. And again, with that is just being consistent with the messaging, making sure that we're always doing what we can to keep everyone safe in our building. And I guess the other thing too is just to show empathy. It's this has been a trying time for many people, and the pandemic has really impacted a lot of people in many ways. And it's you just need to be there for the staff and also for the families and for the children. And so with that, just being a great listener, and also, in regards to how it affected our schooling, we just need to be, I'm always thankful for my staff for being flexible. And, in regards to scheduling and making things, work always for our students. And so on, the last thing is I'll say is that, I'm really fortunate and thankful to be surrounded by a great team. And I know we worked a lot this year in regards to what our school represents and what our school is named after. So the word wahkohtowin means kinship and relations. And so this is some of the things that we always strive to do and to work at in our school. And so I just, again, thank you to all of the students here at wahkohtowin and all of the teachers who've made sure that we were all related and helping each other out and bringing that community together. So with that, I thank you, and hi, hi.
Thank you, Mr. Chief.
Hi. I don't know how to follow Mr. Chief's very good words there in terms of, I guess, as a parent of 3 kids, as I mentioned, my appreciation of teachers and schools and the work and the care and the love and the support that I've seen teachers put in especially in this last year and a half in the face of a pandemic, but also helping our students work through some of the difficult issues we hear on the news or the things that stir up a lot of feelings in our family. We're learning right now, once again, about just how much people are carrying around pain still as a result of residential schools. It's affecting families every day, and classrooms are an important place for kids if they're feeling different emotions to be able to talk about it safely, as Mr. Chief says, to be honest with each other and supported. And that takes a lot for teachers. Now we have an incident of an attack on a Muslim family, and so there's people within our Indigenous community hurting. There's people within our Muslim community hurting, and we in wahkohtowin, to live together as relatives. The path we have to chart into the future is to recognize the value and the humanity of each of us, and learn and listen to one another as we build a community that we really, really appreciate one another, support one another, and make sure everybody feels valued here. And it starts in schools. And I just see so many incredible things happening in our schools that give me hope, and that I want to support in any way I can. And including you, Mr. Chief. Hopefully someday we'll play backyard hockey together, and then have a wiener roast. If you can come to that too, then that would be great. But really, my heart and my appreciation goes out to the whole Wahkohtowin community as you get ready for a summer. I hope you have a wonderful time with your families and friends, and get a chance to get together and be together. And because we've all been sort of being so careful for so long, now is the time to also feel reconnected to our community. So thank you for this opportunity.
Both, that was better than I could have ever planned for. So thank you both so very much. And thank you, Charlie, for coming in. We do appreciate it. I feel very fortunate always to get to work with Mr. Chief every day, and very fortunate to live in a city where we have leaders like you, Charlie, who are kind of helping guide us into the future here. And it's fantastic, and it's very promising getting to raise my very young daughter in a city and within a community of schools like this that we have in Saskatoon. So as a teacher and as a father, and just as a person, like you said, the humanity behind it, I really appreciate having leaders like both of you with us here in the city. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey.
Hey.
Tansa toya nito temtik egwanawa kumakantik. How are you doing, my friends and relatives? Today, I just wanted to share with you, in our culture, in the Cree culture, we have no word that means or says goodbye. We're always reminded that we're going to see each other again sometime in the future, sooner or later. In my culture, instead of saying goodbye at the end of the school year or at the end of anything that we do, we'll say something like muistas. Muistas means later. Muistas. There's other words that we also use. You'll hear people say minaki dom, which means until we meet again. And there's other ones, kitahtawi ki dom. In the event we meet again soon, is what it means. There's many other ways. No, we will see each other again is another way. So in our culture, we know that even if we leave this world, this earth, and go to the spirit world, that we're going to see each other again. And so in my culture, there's no way to say goodbye. So for the end of this school year, I'm going to say this. Minagi dom, muistas nitotemtik, wakumabentik, awasak, snamagewak. I just want to say, we'll see you again later, my friends, my relatives, children, and all the teachers, all my relations.
Have a great summer!
Want to hear a joke?
Yeah, sure.
What did the janitor say when he jumped out of the closet?
I don't know what.
Surprise! Laugh. I have to redo it now.
Thanks for tuning in for our last episode of Good Morning Wahkohtowin. We are so grateful
to be a part of the community
where each and every one of us belongs.
I'm Mrs. Goodwin.
No, I'm Mrs. Goodwin.
I thought I was.
So I'm Miss Bird?
Who knows?
Okay. And you have a good day. So I'm Miss Bird?
Sure. Okay.
But I'm Mrs. Goodwin, right?
Yes,
Okay.
we'll go with that. Okay.